It is the RIOT podcast. Welcome to whatever day today is.
Welcome to your Wednesday podcast for the RIOT. There it is.
So today in the show, we talk about the 1-year anniversary of someone special. I'm not going to mention any names. Cars for Christmas, super spreader events right there at your...
The super spreader one is really sad for the person who was in charge of, you'll obviously hear about in a moment, for digital marketing, though. You can just see that was someone who was so excited to get that project done, and they just did not really catch on to something, which we'll discuss in a moment.
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, you feel bad.
We talk about what's going on with Conan O'Brien, a Titanic expedition, Thanksgiving again. There's a lot of COVID/Thanksgiving chatter, but you know what? How can you avoid it? That's where we live right now.
It's just everything. It's just everything is inundated with it.
We also talk about ways that you can have a positive experience. It's something. And then we also talked to Nikki about what's going on in Animal Crossing and how she needs to get it together.
Well, we appreciate, hey, that's tough love with telling me about it and getting me back on track. So I appreciate that tough love this morning.
I'll tell you who else appreciates it, the people in your town.
I was going to say Animal Crossing, they were always telling me like, hey, we thought you were mad at us. They're like, I'm sorry, I just didn't say hi. I haven't even been here in a while. I will take care of that. But thank you guys so much for listening today. If you're a fan of the RIOT side on RadioU, just a heads up that we are hosting our annual RadioU Christmas channel, and that'll be launching on Friday. So stay tuned to RadioU.com. You can hear us host RadioU Christmas songs starting Friday through this Christmas time.
All right. Anything else you want to throw in?
Enjoy the day. Thank you for listening.
All right. Bye.
The RIOT isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the RIOT. RadioU.
Nikki, I just, out of the gate, just have a really important question for you. Are you ready?
Yes. What is the question?
Okay. This is not related. I also have in a couple of minutes something that I have laughed my head off at this morning. That's separate from this. But have you ever gotten a car for Christmas?
No, I've never gotten a car for Christmas. Is that a thing that we do? Oh, with the big bow and stuff.
I feel like it kind of is. And this is sparked by 5 years and 100,000 miles ago. Our forefathers set forth in May of 2015 to buy a car. I bought a car 5 years ago. Yeah. The dealership continues to email me, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a week. It's fine, whatever. And I just got an email from them that was like, put a Honda under the tree. I'm just like,
who does this? But maybe if it's not a gift, but you happen to buy it at gift time.
Maybe. But that's just what I want to know. Do people buy cars for Christmas?
Maybe it could be that it's a good deal because it's the end of the year stuff.
It could be. I'm just throwing this out there because I would love to get a text message from somebody that's like, oh yeah, we buy cars at Christmas all the time. Why don't you? You sound poor. That's what
You not even have a tree? Let alone a car? What are you doing?
You don't even give cars for Christmas? What do you give? Diamond rings?
It also makes them seem like commercial-wise we're supposed to be doing that. So we're just not following what advertising tells us.
My family's limit for the exchange is like $30.
Not $30,000?
That's up $5 from last year.
Yeah. Well, no, most are like, let's not even exchange this year. We don't need to, let alone, does the car fit under the tree?
That's pretty much where we're at.
But I think if you needed a new car like this, maybe this is like a really good time you get one.
Okay. I can accept that, and I'm not mad. I just think it's funny when I get these emails like, put a Honda under the tree. And it's like, you're vastly underestimating the size of my budget and my tree.
Because it's not coming inside.
Yeah, like this, neither of these things are working out.
They mean your yard tree, like whatever's outside.
It's a metaphor. And I get that. I get it. It's just, I don't know. I wanted to see if maybe somebody somewhere.
What you're about to hear will live on the internet forever. Sorry, internet. The worst of the RIOT podcast.
Now, we don't have giant the grocery store where I live. We have Giant Eagle, but I don't think they're related.
Are you sure they're not? I mean,
They are.
It makes sense if they were, but maybe one side doesn't like Eagle and the other one just likes Giant. I don't know. Is Giant the same as Giant Eagle? But yeah, they're grocery stores.
They both are grocery.
They're actually two separate ones. Wait,
Okay.
They're actually they're completely separate from that, though. Boy, they don't answer that question easily on this Reddit forum. It's a complicated thing.
Do you want Nikki and I to answer that? Present us both with chocolate buttercream cakes.
Yeah.
We'll tell you right now if they're the same store.
They say that it's one chain and then one's the other. It's a bit more complicated, though. But then the person's like, Giant Eagle's completely separate, though, from that. Like, what are you answering then? What are you saying? But anyways, yes, they're two grocery stores.
Yes, and Giant has put out their Thanksgiving ad.
Yeah.
That they are like, hey, come on in. We're going to help you with Thanksgiving dinner. And this is so awesome. Their Thanksgiving ad has a big splash page that says, hosting? Plan a super spread.
No! Oh, did they mean to do that? Or
They didn't get it. They didn't get it.
They didn't connect the two.
Here's a big spread of food. And so, the photo is them with like all kinds of like, here's a cheese plate, here's a shrimp cocktail,
like an
here's
amazing
a fruit plate.
spread of food.
Right.
But super spread means if you spread COVID, you're a super spreader. and that's terrible, but that's amazing. Oh, man, I'd be so embarrassed if that was my department that came out of. Surely someone would have known that. Surely someone would have caught that.
You know what, Nikki? No. People don't get things.
Because it's not like that was made this past week. Like, that was made, I'm sure, a while ago.
Exactly. And so even if, you know what? In reality, they probably copied and pasted that from last year.
Oh,
you don't remember what the Thanksgiving ad looks like from last year. Like, you don't know.
No, they probably copied it from the year before that. They alternate every other year, and it just happened to be the worst wording ever.
Man, I'm telling you, spend time with content creators, because what Nikki just said is absolutely true.
You're like, here's the A year, here's the
true.
B year. Because they're not coming up with anything, too new. There's not anything to innovate with it.
So they're out there today. They're like, hey, plan a super spread is tone deaf, and we're so sorry.
They don't want you to super spread anything, even food from, again, it's from Giant, that grocery store chain, not Giant Eagle.
I love it so much. I love it so much.
I wonder how many people caught it, though, like when looking through the ad. If for everybody else, they're just looking at it, but you're not like really reading it all. Like, did it bother a lot?
I don't know. If you're not somebody that has to handle mass communication, whether it's writing an email or like creating a graphic, I will have to tell you that it is when you are in the middle of doing it, even if you stop, you're like, okay, I'm going to look at this fresh. I'm going to step away. I'm going to come back. I'm going to look at it. I can't tell you how many times I look at something and I'm like, it's fine. And then as soon as I send it to the most number of people possible, then I'm like, oh my gosh, the time is wrong. Or, like whatever. It's like somehow you finally manage to see it for what it is. That could be that. They're like, hey, we printed 1 million of these advertisements. Oh my gosh, we're super spreading.
Well, it's not just bad that they're saying the super spread, but they're also saying, oh, if you're entertaining, and no one's supposed to be entertaining right now, so you shouldn't order any platters.
Man, the whole world needs to take a cue from the riot. Stop being entertaining.
Just stop trying, okay? Just don't try anymore.
Stop.
This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
It is the riots on RadioU, 8772 RadioU. We find ourselves in an awkward position today. Have you ever forgotten a birthday or an anniversary? Has that ever happened to you? And you find yourself having to fix it? I forgot Nikki's birthday one year. I didn't forget it.
No,
I
you just
had
thought
the date
it was
wrong.
Yeah, you thought it was the other day, so it wasn't like awkward. It's not like I still remember it. Doesn't still hurt.
Oh, just to be clear, it was super awkward.
Yeah,
And even when I was trying to make it up to you, it was like, this is not working.
Well, if you forget someone's special day, I think it's worse when you try too hard to make it up afterwards. I think you just need to be honest and then do whatever needs to be done and move on and just try harder next year. Just make it wait until then, but don't try to do the following day, because then that's worse.
Well, Nikki, yesterday we missed an anniversary. I mean, it just blew right past us, and I'm not quite sure how we should handle it today. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the very first confirmed COVID-19 case in Wuhan, China.
Oh, did not know that was the anniversary. Did not know.
Happy anniversary, everybody. Happy anniversary.
It doesn't feel right, does it?
Remember hearing about that weird virus in China? Where you're just like, oh, yeah, talking about that. It looks like they're having a hard time over there.
I was thinking about the other day. Remember in like February and March, and we're all like, yeah, I don't think it's really going to affect a lot of people here. It's okay. And you're like, oh, nope, had no idea. No idea.
No big deal. So, yeah, it's the 1-year anniversary, Nikki. So congratulations to COVID. Man, you have had a big year, guy. I mean, you really have. You start out, you were just localized. You've managed to go international. Every night I see your numbers trending on Facebook, Twitter. The news talks about you all the time.
It
has been, even though you started small in 2019, it's been a big 2020 for you. And so while a lot of people are decreasing, I see you increasing. So congratulations, big guy. Happy 1-year anniversary.
Whoa. I think we could have forgotten that one.
You just want to let it go?
Yeah, it just feels sad.
Okay.
Riot Podcast, RadioU.
Now, Nikki's new job. And you're like,
it's an opportunity, so let's hear if it's something I might want.
Are you ready?
Yeah, what is it?
Conan O'Brien has just announced that he's ending his late night show. Which means there's a programming gap and a job opening up.
There's an opening then for a new late night host on, what was he on, TBS?
On TBS. Now, Nikki, neither you nor I receive TBS, so...
It's not like it matters.
If we were in an interview and they were like, so tell us about some of your other favorite TBS shows, it would be like, I can't wait to join the TBS family.
I just can't wait to join the lineup. I'm sure it's all wonderful. This is actually a really smart move for him. He's been in late night for a very long time, and late night has had to have a certain look, and being on TBS, I'm sure for him, had to have a certain formula that he had to follow. And since he's been doing it for so long, but with COVID and with TV shows and studio audiences and things just changing, not necessarily going back to what it had been anytime soon. This is a really smart move because he can now just do what he wants. He's just going to do a different style show on HBO Max.
Yeah, there it is.
There because
it is.
It's HBO Max or because it's a different show?
It's the HBO Max thing that just
that's
okay.
What gets you?
All right, here we go. HBO Max.
Well, I mean, I used to love Conan O'Brien, but then...
Oh, what happened?
Well, it got to be too long. I only like his shorts, the stuff that they'll put on YouTube, and it's a few minutes.
I've never seen him in shorts.
Well, you know what I mean, like short videos.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist, so I just went for it.
It'd get tiring. I never like interviews and stuff. I always like just the fun, short stuff,
sure.
Which you could just watch on YouTube for a few minutes instead of watching through the whole show. So, again, this is a smart move. That tends to be what a lot of people like nowadays and prefer.
Yeah. So but is this enough for you to make the leap to HBO Max?
No, not for. It's been a while since I've seen him, so no, I don't think so.
Not really. You're not going to be like, hey, let me get that password.
No, can I rejoin HBO Max, please?
Because you know what, like I would give you my HBO Max password.
Oh, you
I think
would? Yeah, we could share that one.
I think we're those kind of friends.
We could.
Like I think you could have that password if you wanted it.
So for Conan O'Brien, he is ending his TBS show in June of 21. So next June. And that would mean the end to 11 years. Then on HBO Max, he's going to do a new weekly variety series.
All right. Well, Nikki, just want to throw it out to you. TBS has got an opening. I say jump on it now. Don't wait.
I don't
jump
know if
on
I
it
would
right
fit,
now.
I don't know if I would fit that style. I feel like I could probably do read the news in the evening or something, or what is it, the home shopping. I think I could do a hosting of that pretty well, but not an evening show. I don't think I could do it.
Hey, they say if you can host the Home Shopping Network, you can host anything.
You can? You know how to fill in the time?
They say that, like, if you can fill time like that, then you can do just about anything. So maybe you're underestimating your worth.
Could be. So TBS, I'm willing just to, say hi, send in some stuff, but I don't want to, do a full show, which is why he's leaving, too.
It is a lot of work. He is probably going to go make the same amount of money or more for working 20% of the amount.
Well, it's something new. He's been doing that format for so long, and now you don't have to do any of that. And you can just start with something else.
Yep, I'm in. I'll call TBS. Nikki, I'll produce for you. It's fine. You be on camera. I'll be behind the camera. It'll be a great team.
No, I think we go together, all right? We can still do the riot here. It doesn't change anything at RadioU.
We got time.
Listening to the worst of the riot is the equivalent of standing in line at the BMV. Ugh. Worst of the riot. RadioU.
So, Nikki, what do you get for Christmas for that person who has everything? And you're like, oh, you put a Honda under the tree.
No, I think if someone, because I feel like I have a few people in my life where it's hard to find a gift item for them, not just for Christmas, but for birthdays as well. So then I try to go the ultra practical way of just getting them something that I know they eat there, or they know they do that, or I know they'll use this gift card somewhere. So it's not going to be an impressive present, but at least it's something they'll actually use.
Okay, so I like that. They say the hotness these days is not to get people things, but to gift them experiences. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And another company that's and they're not the only ones that does this, but apparently they're one of the new ones, Ocean Gate Expeditions. They just opened up and said, hey, look, next year, we're going to have 6 10-day missions that are available that you will explore the wreckage of the Titanic.
Ooh, that could be, man, you would like that.
I don't think I would. I think I would be terrified by that.
Well, if you weren't taking the first trip and you were somewhere a few after they've got all the kinks out and you're fine, because Obi likes to watch Titanic
movies. I like to watch the 1998 documentaries.
No, not the movies. Documentaries.
I do. You know what? I have a weird fascination of things of the sea. I love documentaries on underwater, wrecks, any kind of a diving expedition, submarines. I'm fascinated by them, but I think it might be because I'm just a little bit scared of them.
And you don't want to do it in person.
I don't want to go under the water.
I don't want to go into space. I understand the feeling. We don't want to go. So how much are they saying this expedition would be?
Well, before we get there, Nikki, I want to talk about some of the great value ads that are being thrown into.
What do we get?
Okay, what do you think it would cost to go to the Titanic?
Well, how long is it? Do you get hotel?
Well, remember,
do you get food? What do you get?
They're saying it's a 10-day expedition, so it's not like you're going to be under the water for 10 days. You got to get to your place, and then you got to take the boat out to the North Atlantic, which I hear is beautiful all times of the year. And then you got to get seasick, and then you got to throw up, and then you hang out there for a couple days.
Do I get meals?
Yeah, they're probably going to feed you, and you're going to get a chance to see it all again.
Well, I would say then maybe $40,000, $50,000. It's going to be expensive.
You're a sweet kid.
Is it more? It's more expensive than that. Is it $100,000?
$125,000.
Oh gosh, that is so expensive. Is that for a party of people, or how many people is that? At
that's
least a
for
pair.
That is for an audience of one.
No, really?
So you'll probably, I mean, if you really want to enjoy it, you got to take somebody with you, right?
Oh, my gosh. How do you afford that? Jeez.
So, I mean, at this point, though, I do believe that to be cheaper than a ticket on Virgin Galactic for space.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
right underneath it.
There you go. And you can go to OceanGateExpeditions.com to book your travel now.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to book anything. You don't know what next year's going to be like travel-wise. You don't want to do it yet.
You know what, though? Like, I'll bet. Like, of course, I can't guarantee this, but my guess is that you can probably do this and not have to worry about COVID. Like, you know, everybody takes a COVID test before they get on the boat, and then you're on the boat, so there's no more COVID to worry about.
That's true, and it's a 10-day, so it's practically the whole quarantine time.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but they almost never have any kind of a disease or sickness outbreak on boats. That never happens.
It's not good. Not good at all. So that's an opportunity if you have an extra couple of $100,000 if you and a friend want to go on a total of 6 missions that they're offering next summer, and that'll run late May until mid-July for the Titanic.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. Visit the watery grave of thousands of unfortunate people.
Oh, no, it's awful.
Say hello to boats you know.
No. And they actually make you work there, too. You're going to be doing boat stuff, scan stuff, submarine stuff. They're going to really put you to work. So they should be paying you to go there.
They're going to put you to work scrubbing the toilets in between missions.
No, they say that you help capture laser scans and you'll be able to help make virtual 3D models of the Titanic.
See, that to me feels like this is the only way they're able to do that, is that they have to make you part of the crew or it's illegal.
Yes.
Obadiah and Nikki tried their hardest, and that's what really matters. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
So yesterday, all week, last week, everybody's talking about closures, Thanksgiving, governors, loving governors, saying they're great leaders, hating governors, saying they're Scrooges and Grinches.
There's been a lot of stuff the last few weeks. Yes, that is true.
Take your pick, like wherever you're at. It's fine. But here's the thing that hit me was, as we were talking on the show yesterday about, you know, missing out on some Thanksgiving traditions and missing out on family, there were so many of you that reached out, emails, some phone calls, some tweets, some messages, whatever, about like, hey, I'm really going to miss my family. I'm really disappointed. You know, my family lives 3 states over. I only get a chance to see them, you know, once or twice a year. And now this is being taken away. And I've been a little dismissive of it, just to be honest. But
even though you yourself are not traveling to see your family too, you know, it definitely has hit you too.
I think I have a cold, hard heart. And so like, I'm just like, whatever. I'll see you next year. It's fine.
I just think maybe you are just not as compassionate when sharing details about it.
Yeah. So I just want to say in the middle of that, like, you know what? If you are not getting a chance to miss your family and it hurts, I'm sorry that you're going through that. And I have been there. Without digging into my personal history, the irony of this is, and maybe this is the heart of my cynicism, it's been a reaction to, I have been in positions where I have been unable to see family members for very long extended periods of time. And I have sat in my room and just cried out of being desperate and being lonely and really experiencing that. And I almost had to get reminded, hey, remember what this is like? And I want you to know, in those moments, one of the things that I did, aside from being, you know, crying and being upset, it's okay. Like, you don't have to put your chin up. You don't have to, you don't have to sit in it for days on end. But if you need to have a weep, you can have a weep. Like, go for it, right? But in the middle of all of that, something consistent for me is that I really did find Jesus in the middle of all of that. God was there for me in ways that it's almost hard to put into words, but you can experience it for yourself. And so if you're lonely today, if you're facing the holidays and you're like, I'm going to be alone and I'm scared and I don't want to be alone and I'm angry and, whatever it is that you're feeling, I want you to know that you don't even have to feel it alone. You can actually talk to God and say, God, I am so angry right now. God, I am so sad right now. You can get some of that out with God. And what I have found is that as I talk to God about what's going on, I just become more and more aware of the fact that I'm not alone and that he's actually there with me the entire time. And look, if you don't have a friendship with God, I'm not saying you're not going to miss your family. Like, here, say these 5 words and stop missing your family. No, I'm saying that you may miss your family, but you don't have to miss them alone. Just say, Jesus, I want that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I want to have a relationship with you. And I'm lonely and I'm tired and I just need some help. And that's a great place to start a relationship with God. Or if you've already got one, just talk to him.
We would give the Riot flowers to show our appreciation, but Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is the Riot on RadioU.
This whole, I don't know, depending on what state you're in and where you are, call it a lockdown, a shutdown, a stay at home, a curfew, a this, whatever. Okay, it has had consequences. For me, especially, I've had COVID-19. I'm feeling enormously better. I'm just right on the verge of being allowed.
You are almost there. You're almost. He's had some symptoms that's made his quarantine a lot longer than other people, just to be honest. So
yeah, and so I've just had to wait it out. And I've thought I've been cleared twice, only to within hours of being like, I'm clear, being like, oh gosh, I'm not. So it's great. I love it. I'm really enjoying it. But all of that being said, Nikki, there is an unforeseen consequence. There's lots of them. There's a whole bunch of things that have happened that, would have never occurred to me, et cetera, et cetera. But one of those is I just got an email from the gas station. I've lost my gold status.
Oh, now you should have told us. We would have been going for you. So, a rewards card, they try to entice you by saying, hey, like with Starbucks, you get gold status, you get so many points, but you have to maintain that status. You lost your gas station one with soda, didn't you?
I did. You have to go 6 times a month, and you're like, Obadiah, you have a problem. No. Listen, I have to get gas 4 times a month, so there's 4 sodas. So we're just talking about 2 extra stops. That's no big deal.
Easily obtainable. The 6 is easily done.
No big deal. So I've had gold status for, a long time. And you would think that instead of emailing to let me know I lost gold status, they'd be emailing to ask me what was wrong. Like, hey, are you okay?
Honestly, I think if you called, like, not to be weird or anything, but like if you check your credit card thing or your payment for this, they're always like, need help because of COVID. Like, why can't you just call them and tell them you've had COVID? You couldn't go to the gas station. It's not a no. You could fix this. I want you to make that call.
The idea of calling and just being like, hey, listen, I just found out about my gold status. And I know that you guys don't know this. I know you don't. But we have to talk because I have COVID-19 and I have been unable to visit the gas station for like a month. And I'm so sorry.
So I bet you they would reactivate it. I'm sure you wouldn't lose it then if you don't mind calling.
You know what? I don't
you
think
don't
I'm
want
going to.
You could email.
I know. I
it's
could.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. And you know what? I am sure that I could encounter some very reasonable people that would be willing to help. Probably, maybe, I don't know. But
if not, I'm sure it comes back. If it's a monthly thing, it just comes right back.
Oh, Nikki, I can earn it again. Yeah. I can get it.
You can have, probably not. Could you do it for November, do you think? Depending on when you get cleared or if you try really hard.
Okay. Let's say that I get clear. We already know, let's see. So like Thursday, the last time I had a fever was last night at like 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So I got to get 48 hours from there. So that means theoretically Friday I could make my first visit. And if there are 6 days left in November, there are 6 visits that can take place.
So if you really worked hard next week, you could totally knock it out. And then you can go back to VIP status at your gas station.
man, I'll tell you, when you start thinking about it, like it seems a little less ridiculous and a little more attainable.
It's a goal. And you only have to buy a soda, right? You don't have to do anything else?
No, just buy a soda and go in and talk to the guy behind the counter who plays World of Warcraft all the time, and he talks to me about it.
Oh, I bet he's wondered where you've been. He's been worried.
I think he and I are probably going to need to become like Twitter or Facebook friends just so we can check in on each other, because I've been gone for a month and I'm just like, I haven't found out what's going on with WoW.
Now, Andy, I don't appreciate that. He texted in and said, Obi, all I hear is Nikki pushing bad habits on you. Andy, he was already VIP status. I didn't have anything to do with that. I just know it means a lot to him to maintain that status, and I don't want him to just throw that away if there's a way for them to just give it back to him.
Look, you got to understand, guys, I don't have a lot going on personally. So that VIP status, like, that really means something.
That was something to him, okay? He was excited about it.
Like, that means something. So let's just...
Oh, don't just throw that away. You worked hard at it.
Yeah, like, I didn't just get that. I earned that, you know? Like, they didn't give it to me. I took it. It felt good. You know, I didn't win any tournaments in... at any level, elementary, high school, junior high, college. I won nothing. This one's mine.
But here he was a VIP.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Here's a piece of honesty. Pepsi sucks. Oh.
Easy there, everybody. But, you know, you've all been there. You're at the restaurant. You're like, hey, what would you like to drink? And you say a Diet Coke. And they're like, oh, we have Diet Pepsi. And then you're like, I'll take a water then, because you just don't want to pay for it. And the waitress or the waiter's like, oh, yes. And they understand. It's just not our thing. Pepsi has never been our thing.
I'll take some water. Actually, some dirty water that someone spits in.
Is the Pepsi. It just has never worked. I don't know why, but maybe if they come up with a different flavor, maybe we'll like that one.
Well, this is not a Diet Pepsi. This is just regular Pepsi, but it's going to be Pepsi Apple Pie flavor.
So like maybe a cream soda with a little apple mixed in?
I don't know.
Do you think the cream soda would make it be like the pie part, like the a la mode part, if they're doing that sort of style?
Well, let me read the description to you. Pepsi Apple Pie blend features hints of cinnamon, buttery crust, and fresh apple. That sounds good.
No.
I like that.
No, an apple pie sounds good.
Yeah, okay.
Not in
all right.
soda form.
You're
We're going to confuse
right.
that, and you're going to be all excited, and then you're going to try it, and it's going to taste like flat Pepsi again. Hot Pepsi. That's all we'll get.
You're right. I mean, nothing you're saying right now is a lie.
We want it to taste like liquid apple pie, and it's not going to actually. It's probably very cinnamony, but yeah, we'll still try that. When are they supposed to release it?
Let's see. Are they fans who want to win a 2-liter bottle?
Oh, they're
blah,
not.
Blah, blah.
They're not coming to stores.
Nah, come on. It's not?
No, you'll have to. Okay, if you want to win, here it is. You don't get to buy these things. If you want to win a 2-liter bottle, you have to post a photo or a video of your baking fails with the hashtag Pepsi Apple Pie Challenge to Twitter or TikTok accounts for Pepsi. And you have to be following Pepsi as well to participate in it. And the first 1,500 failed bakers to enter will have a chance to win a bottle of it.
Well, how much more honesty do you guys want right now?
So you're not getting it. No one's getting it anytime soon.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
So we were just talking about Pepsi Apple Pie, which it's at first I was like, is it a recipe to make a Pepsi Apple Pie? Because that would be weird, but I was game. But it's not. It is an apple pie flavored Pepsi. Then you find out that no, you can't have any unless you jump through a million hoops and maybe win.
So it's a new flavor of Pepsi that you have to do this challenge with, and then you have to be following them mostly on social media. That's really what they truly want. So that's how you could possibly win, but it's not like it's coming out even in a testing market thing. It's just a chance to win a few.
This is very grumpy old man, but go with me down this road for just a minute. In a lot of ways, social media has ruined fun. Now, it came out and it was fun, but it's ruining fun, and here's why. Okay, Pepsi, anything Pepsi does is there to sell more Pepsi. That's everything. That's the whole point of it, right? So here's what they could do. They come up with a product, Apple Pie Pepsi. They launch that product nationally. It is time consuming. It's expensive. They have to spend a ton of money on the advertising. They've got to convince you that you want it, all this kind of stuff. That's old school. That would have meant that each of us would have at least had a shot at some Pepsi. Yeah. And all of that is to push the Pepsi brand. And they didn't care if you bought Apple Pie Pepsi or just straight up Pepsi. They just wanted to sell you some Pepsi. Now they have figured out that they can come up with a throwaway flavor. They can make 100 bottles of it, and they turn it into a social media contest. You provide them, and by you, I'm pointing right back at me because I'm doing it right now, but you provide them with all the coverage and with all the media, whatever. They don't even have to pay to advertise it. All they've got to do is get you to put it on TikTok and you to put it on Instagram, and they get the same level of engagement. They get their name out there just as much, and all they have to do is take a couple of photos for social media and come up with what? Maybe not even 100 bottles of this stuff. It is the most absurdly cost-effective marketing campaign, and I'm still not getting any Apple Pie Pepsi.
He's still mad about it because, again, a lot of companies will do this, but I don't understand. I mean, I know advertising is very important to a company and it's pushing the brand, but they could have slapped a holiday special flavoring on it and sent it out for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that could have been a Pepsi flavor that people would have loved to have gotten if they actually just would have put it in stores. Sometimes with the limited flavors, you just can't get them anywhere. I don't know if they actually put them everywhere.
See, that right there is the argument that I'm trying to make. What you're talking about is way more expensive and might be just as effective, meaning that them running this stupid TikTok contest and making 100 bottles of Pepsi, that might cost them, I don't know, stuff's expensive. Let's say $100,000. To make it all and get it into the stores, that's a $10 million process. But at the end of the process, they're probably getting the same amount of coverage and sales by just doing the stupid TikTok thing. And again, my problem with this is not being smarter on a business level. It's that I'm not getting any Apple Pie Pepsi.
You just can't get the flavor. You want to try it. I know, but you don't want to try the contest.
It's fine. It's fine. You know what I like? I like not getting things. I like hearing about things and not being able to experience it.
You know what? We DIY it. You just take some Pepsi, you just throw in some apple pie, and you just blend it all up, and that's it.
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So, Nikki, let's talk about a company that's doing it old school, but it feels so right.
What's the company?
You will not need to enter a contest. You will not need to take a photo. You can go in, exchange American currency for goods, walk out and enjoy. Done. I like that. And, well, okay, let's be honest. It's going to be like everything else we've tried to buy this year. It's going to be out of stock. But
well, I think that is some of the issue that some of the companies are having because, again, depending on where you're at and when it's at, not everything is stockable in stores. Not everybody's going into stores. So when you're making a creative or new product, it might not be the best time to launch all of those when it's not a guarantee that everyone's going to go out to get it or they'll be able to find anything anywhere.
I don't know, Nikki. That's not what the angry man on the radio said.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Hope you being the angry man on the radio.
No, it is true. Brands are dealing with, supply chain issues and whatever. And I imagine that this item will be just like the graphics card I've tried to buy, the game console you've tried to pick up. Like, it'll be hard to get.
And the toilet paper you look for each week.
And that's this. The people at Cinnabon are now selling 13-ounce pints of their cream cheese frosting.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, that's the good part of the cinnamon roll from the Cinnabon.
I know. You pay extra to get a little on the side, and now we're talking about a whole big container.
It's really cute. The container's super cute. It looks like a little snowman. So you can buy a pint of the Cinnabon icing if you want.
I want it.
How much do you have to pay?
I want that. $5.99. So worth it.
That's not bad. You can now add Cinnabon's signature cream cheese frosting for a limited edition pint. You can now buy those so you can add it to your own things that you make at home.
Yep. I'll do that. You can add it to lots of things like crackers, bread,
more bread.
Cookies,
your own cake, make your own cinnamon rolls and just slather it on. Let's see. It is $5.99 at its 900 U.S. locations. And then you can also, of course, do food delivery apps. You can order it that way.
And I mean, really, if you think about it, the only thing you're limited to or limited by is your imagination.
Okay, now, what about this? What about like a cinnamon raisin bagel? Or some sort of delicious bagel with the frosting on top of it?
I'm in.
A breakfast bagel? Something?
Right now.
So that is available. It looks like it's available right now.
What if we put it on a salad? Find me something that it's not going to make better. I defy you.
I don't know about that one. Ooh, a Cinnabisket chicken sandwich. They have those.
Oh,
they have those in like the freezer sections where you can buy them and then you can make them at home.
I want it. Sign me up, count me in, put me on the list. I want one.
Well, look at that. You're like, hey, things are going well. I just bought a pint of icing. No, like frosting. It's just going to be bad. Oh, yeah. Don't buy it if you're going to just spend next week sitting at home eating it.
Don't buy it if you're alone next week.
And we're all supposed to be alone, so maybe don't get this until later. Or if you do get it, maybe it's freezable or something, and then we can break it out when things are a little bit more accountable. So we can just wait until then.
Well, I got to tell you, I want it, and I don't want the accountability. This might be the perfect time for me, Nikki. This might be the one. This is where I just decided that it's like, when during the pandemic did you know you gave up? Well,
this would be it. Oh, thank goodness you didn't have that when you got your quarantine with COVID. I mean, you cannot be in the basement eating this thing.
I can.
The Riot with Obadiah and Nikki on RadioU.
You know, I have been hesitant to talk about the PS5 too much, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I just feel kind of bad that I have one because
not everybody else is able to get theirs yet because there's not enough to go around.
I know so many people really want them, and I just feel like I am the luckiest person alive to have managed to have gotten one, and I just feel bad. I can't brag about it. I can't humble brag about it. I'm just like, well, yes, I have one. It's fine. I'm enjoying it. It's fine.
People are excited that you finally got something.
I know. So we did the stream yesterday. I will say this is not great news if you're wanting to get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. I believe it was yesterday that Microsoft CFO Tim Stewart, everybody knows Tim? You know, the CFO faux show. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's just stuff we do in the office. It's fine. But he had there was like a virtual conference yesterday in which he was talking to a bunch of people and told them, hey, we anticipate continued shortages of both Xbox consoles through the first quarter of next year.
Oh, really?
So that means they think there'll be shortages until at least April.
Sure.
Now, that's just Xbox. So, yeah, maybe there's some miracle world where Sony doesn't experience that kind of shortage, but it seems to me that that's probably where we are.
Now, that doesn't mean it'll take you till April to get it, but go into it with realistic expectations and don't be bummed if you can't find it anywhere or if it sells out before you have a chance to buy it.
Well, my thought would be that I'd be curious to know, like, what do they consider shortages? Like, to them is a shortage that you can't just walk in off the street and there's a stack of them? waiting for you to buy them because at some point, what was it? I'm trying to think of the last thing. Okay, when I was trying to buy, this was like 3 or 4 years ago, a graphics card that was kind of hard to get. It was one of those things where you couldn't just buy them, but there was kind of like this second ring. There was the crazy people in the first ring, and then there was kind of like the second and third rings, which is where I would say I was, where it was like, if you kept checking in, and if you kept paying attention, eventually you would find it. You wouldn't be able to just casually find it. You had to put a little work into it, but it was still there to be found. So I don't know what that means for the PlayStation and the Xbox going into Christmas. All I know is I can remember wanting one, not a PlayStation 5, but wanting a game console so badly. And my poor mom practically killing herself to get one.
Aww, and did she ever find that one? Or?
She did. That year I got one, but I don't know, for some reason this Christmas, that's what I keep thinking about. It's just like the incredible amount of pressure being put on people to buy these for Christmas. And I'm just like, I want to hug you. I'm so sorry.
Not enough to give you his, but just sorry that you have not yet found one.
I will say that I do want to keep mine. I feel like it was a special moment for me, but I sympathize with you,
well,
and I hope you find what you're looking for.
Robbie texted, said you deserve the PS5 after all the COVID you went through, so you definitely deserve something good.
Yeah, well, you know what? I appreciate your kind words, and I also appreciate this PlayStation 5.
He appreciates it all.
I'm not going to lie.
This is the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Nikki, I am watching this TikTok video that is amazing. Oh, but you know what? That came from Trevor. We'll get to that. But before we do, I also want to say hi to Scott. Arkansas and Ashley says she loves you and wants to give you a shout out.
Aww.
Now, I'm not going to turn this show into just us exchanging messages, but Scott, you deserve it, bro.
You
Fist
do.
bump.
You do, absolutely.
So, that being said, let's get back to what Trevor texted us. This TikTok of this dude straight up eating onions, garlic, and lemon juice.
So I don't think you're spending enough time on TikTok to know that this has been a trend with COVID going on of people who lose their sense of smell and taste. But then they'll just eat anything that's gross, nasty. Well, unless you like that stuff, then it's not gross and nasty. But, like in its raw form. So you'll just have like a spoonful of garlic, or onions are the biggest thing just to take a bite out of and not flinch, like you just have no taste of it.
That's not been me. I have had COVID. I guess I still have it. I don't know, whatever. But I never lost my sense of taste. Now, I saw my sense of taste kind of reduced a little bit, which I didn't think was a thing until one day I had a cup of coffee and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good.
When it was finally coming back.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, apparently I did lose some of my sense of taste, and now I'm noticing it coming back.
It would have been amazing because Obi despises onions, like with a passion, hates them. And so if you would have actually lost your sense of taste to have you eat an onion would have been mind-blowing.
Shocking.
I don't even know if you could have done it, but if you could have like mentally been able to do it, but if you didn't have the taste for it.
Well, that right there. Like, would I have been able? My body rejects the onion.
Even
it's
though
not
you
just the taste or smell.
Taste it. Yeah, you couldn't actually taste it. So it's popular. And the one we're watching, he goes through onions. What else he does? He does like a spoonful of garlic and no taste. That was his only COVID symptoms that he had. Oh, lemon juice is the other thing. Just drinking straight lemon juice.
So here's another question. Okay. I hate onions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I completely lose my sense of taste to COVID, but I take a bite out of an onion every day. Do you think I would have been able to somehow like acclimatize myself to onions until finally, as my sense of taste slowly returned,
sure,
I would be okay with onions?
That would be something to try, because I mean, you just hate it, and that goes down to little Obi. So
yeah,
it's not just like, oh, I just don't like the taste. Like you really, really, really don't like them. Maybe you could retrain yourself, but you didn't lose your taste sense, so it's not like you can do it.
No, and I'll just tell you, if you don't believe me, like I actually went through a period of time where I thought, you know what, you can do this. Like you can get yourself acclimatized to when you can eat these onions. And it was just like, no, there's something inside me that is just like, no, no, no.
But if that was turned off, could you, yes, have an onion? But
I don't know.
I guess we won't find out. You're not going to do it.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I'm okay with that.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on RadioU.
Tomorrow's the day, Nikki.
Tomorrow's the day? You said, oh my gosh, is that what is tomorrow supposed to be?
Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is the Animal Crossing New Horizons holiday update.
It is. Oh, you know what? Guys, I'm going to be honest.
You didn't get any pumpkins, did you?
Listen, I hate myself. I got pumpkins, but I haven't been playing as much. I only play like once every week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm really behind, and I'm mad at myself. I'm disappointed in myself.
Not as mad as we are. We're very mad at you. Very disappointed.
I was playing every day there, and it sits next to me on my nightstand. Yeah, there's no reason. I just been busy, and really just want Christmas stuff in my Animal Crossing. I just really want snow. That's all I want. So maybe I'll get more into it when the holiday stuff comes out.
Well, here's the deal. November 26th in Animal Crossing, they celebrate Turkey Day.
Yeah.
And so you'll be able to celebrate Turkey Day with this new update. And then also on December 24th, they celebrate Toy Day. There's a reindeer named Jingle who will show up and deliver gifts to excited residents.
Well, when does the snow start, though? That's what I want. So blankets of snow. I guess I have to look through this to see when the bundle stuff will offer what. But it looks like November 19th will be the holiday events and enhancements.
So they say the holiday decorations will pop up on the island and plaza, and they'll just kind of slowly roll out. If you see a decorated tree, you can shake it, and it will give you an ornament.
Oh, that's perfect for me. That's perfect for me. I would love to do that. I would absolutely love it.
They also say you'll be able to buy toys and pick up holiday clothing from December 1st through the 25th. They also say those ornaments you can use to make holiday furniture. I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds like a crafting option.
It does.
So you'll be able to build a Santa throne, perhaps.
That would be nice. I'd like that, too. All right. So when's the first update? Is that the one that's tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you ready? Oh, yeah. You just got sucked back in.
No, you know what it is? I need to get everything done today. All right?
Okay.
Everything done today. And then that way tomorrow, when I'm all done with my work day, I can go finally catch back up. I got to clean up my island. I got to get back in the game.
Yeah. You get your game face on.
I'm ready.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm absolutely ready. And I'm sorry.
The thing that bothers me is the way you keep prioritizing real world events versus what's going on in Animal Crossing.
It's been so busy, and I've even tried to multitask. Like sometimes I would watch a YouTube video, and then underneath it I would have my Switch so I could play Animal Crossing. I'm watching and catching up on YouTube.
While also FaceTiming with your mom and cooking.
Like doing everything, and I just didn't have enough hands to be able to walk around the island and do all that stuff. But tomorrow we'll start the next Animal Crossing update, and I'm going to be in there. I'm ready.
I mean, I find myself sometimes prepping the show while, I don't know, prepping dinner or eating. But, I just don't have the gift for multitasking that you do, Nikki.
Proper planning prevents poor performance. Clearly, the Riot didn't properly plan. This is the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
So, Nikki, I'm looking here at some new guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control about how they would like for us to spend Thanksgiving this year.
Everybody ready? Let's not get mad. Let's just listen. Let's just hear what they have to say.
So they said it was best if we didn't sing.
All right.
Or play loud music.
We can't sing loudly for others to hear. We can't do that anymore.
No. So they say that COVID-19 is spread through, or can be spread through respiratory droplets like saliva, which, like right now as I'm talking into this microphone, I got a COVID hotbed right here. I'm just COVIDing the whole place.
Because you're spitting, basically. You do that when you sing or when you talk. It just happens.
Yeah. And you're like, no, I don't. Well, you do like just a little bit. Not as much as you think, but it totally happens. So they say none of that. They also say no alcohol for Thanksgiving this year. And the reason they say that is I was like, this is how stupid I am. I was like, oh, because maybe it lowers your immunity or something like that. No, the concern is that once you get just a little bit in you, you'll lower your inhibitions and start singing
and start
hugging,
not following the suggestions that they're giving everybody that you'll get too close to somebody.
Right. Now, that's the same argument that you're seeing from a lot of state governors as they are like either closing bars or asking bars to close earlier. Is they're basically saying, hey, people reach a certain point in the night where they've had enough in them that they start making some poor choices, and we can't have everyone making these poor choices.
So that's why they're suggesting you just not have it.
Mm-hmm. So you do with that what?
What about like a turkey bone broth or something? Maybe have that instead of some of the alcohol. It'll be healthier and more on topic and trend for the holiday season for Thanksgiving.
Well, it sounds delicious.
Like I made the turkey and I have bone broth with it. So it's just great all by yourself.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, bone broth sitting in my mug.
So I see this everywhere on Facebook, and I've never seen it before, but Jason said it sounds like the town from Footloose, which is an older movie. Everybody always compares every suggestion they send us, or that they send everybody, to be just like how that movie was.
You know what? I'll just tell you, I realize what I'm going to say is not popular, but I kind of feel for the CDC and the governors, and I'll tell you why, is that they are trying to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and everybody's mad at them. But once you get COVID-19, you will expect them to take care of you up to a certain point. And so they have to balance the reality that when the hospitals are overflowing, if they will be, and I know not everybody believes that, but let's say that they believe that the hospitals are overflowing, whatever, they have to solve that problem. And they're just like, hey, instead of solving that problem, we want to prevent that problem. And everybody's like, you suck. I think those guys and girls, those governors, they have like some of the worst jobs ever. Because do you think anybody at the CDC is like, well, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we always wore these masks to Thanksgiving. And
they shouldn't have any problem.
I never saw my grandma drinking wine to get by. I never saw any of these things. And so when we issue these, I'm really just encouraging everyone to have a Thanksgiving like I always did.
When I was little.
Nobody's excited about it. But anyway, sorry. That was me thinking for a minute. I'm done thinking.
So that's some of the suggestions that they're still sending out for this holiday. So no singing is the main thing.
No singing and drinking.
That's
and
it.
No fun.
Well,
and don't get together with people.
Well, I think we all are understanding.
Don't eat.
We're not. They haven't said that yet, but I'm just really waiting for that one to come too. They're like, don't eat any turkey, don't eat anything else, just don't do anything.
Are people really still listening to the Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
Earlier, we were talking with Nikki about her lack of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's on the schedule now, and if I have to schedule it, that just means like I've lost the daily love that I used to have of just checking in with my island, but they're coming out with new updates starting tomorrow, so I got to get back into it. Well,
they say, Nikki, sometimes you scheduling it just shows that it's still important to you.
I'm willing to.
The fact that you're willing to schedule it. But one of the things that I just want to bring up is that researchers at Oxford University in the UK have just released a paper. It's a preprint paper, meaning it's not really technically out yet, just digitally. It's a study that concludes, in part, that video games have a positive correlation with player well-being. So they are very clear. They're like, hey, we're not saying that video games cause well-being. We can't prove that. But we can show you that people who play video games have a higher incidence of well-being than those who do not.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Big video game paid for all this.
Maybe. Brought to you by the new PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox. Maybe not.
Nikki, I think you'll be happy to hear that there were 2 games that the people in the study were asked to play. They could either play Animal Crossing.
Hey.
Or Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville.
Hey, I remember that game. I didn't really get into it, but that game's been around for a while.
You know what? I don't know what Battle for Neighborville is. I definitely played old school Plants vs. Zombies. What is this? What is Battle? I remember the Battle for Neighborville coming out. I just don't remember what you do.
So that, I like how they explain it in the article in case you just don't know about Animal Crossing. That's where you get to plant trees, let you fish, make furniture, and be merry in a little digital village. So that's how they, in this article, describe Animal Crossing, which is true, I guess.
Okay, so Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville is a lot like the one they did. It's a 3D shooter, basically. I can't remember what the old one was called. I played that old one, but I didn't play this one. So it's out there, and positive correlations, Nikki, between playing and well-being. And so I can't promise you that you're going to feel better, but you might.
Interesting.
If you take a little time and you get back in that Animal Crossing world of yours.
They say that players tend to overestimate the amount of time that you play, which is similar to what we have with smartphones, your social media, and news around this time, where you're into the game more than you realize that you've played a lot longer than you thought you did. Just like when you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was on Instagram for so long, or I spent the whole night on TikTok, it just tends to get away from you.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
If you need somebody to come along and enforce policy at your Thanksgiving party...
It's not going to be us. We don't want to do that.
No, we're going to send Hudson. You call us, but we send Hudson.
We'll send him out, but we'll be happy to schedule any conflicting problems that you might be having. We'll take care of it.
Here's what I'm looking at, Nikki. Governor Cuomo has listed from New York. He's got all kinds of stuff that he's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, whatever. So it's one thing to say something. Like right now, I say everyone in the United States owes me $100.
Doesn't mean that it actually happens or that it has to happen.
Here's where the gap is. Enforcement.
Yeah.
Like, that's the gap. I can say that, and some of you might even say, Obadiah, here's $200. Thank you for being you. But when the governor says, hey, you can't have more than 10 people over to your house, the police have to enforce that. And there are a bunch of sheriffs in New York State that are like, nah.
They're not going to.
Nah, we're not enforcing this. Forget it.
Well, that's not the first time during the suggestions or the telling us that the sheriffs have said that they would not actually be able to go out and enforce that with literally everybody.
Right, which is why I think, as I so often do, that there's a gap here that you and we start a hotline of some kind that people call. We already have an 800 number.
No,
and then
everybody's telling on each other. You do not want to start doing that.
You start telling on people, and we'll start sending Hudson out there. And I'll tell you, when Hudson shows up, everybody's going home.
Everybody's listening.
Everybody's going home.
No, I mean, you want people to follow these suggestions, but they're right. I mean, with enforcing it, and then you just telling on people, I don't know. That's a whole nother level there, right?
Right, Nikki, you just need to inform on your neighbor, and it's fine.
Even though I have a neighbor that constantly has like 10 or 12 cars all parked out in front all the time, but I'm not telling on them, even though I felt tempted on our group community Facebook page to be like, what's going on? But no, I haven't. But you always think about doing it.
Nikki, here's the thing, though. Like, you got to look at it this way. We're not calling the government. Mm-hmm. We're not going to call the government. We're going to call a private firm to take care of things like this. We're going to send in Hudson.
Well, they say that they trust in the area of the county that they're in. They say that they trust them to use their own judgment.
Yeah, sure. Your own judgment. It's working great. It's working great.
So they're not going to be enforcing that for the indoor assemblies at private residence, they say, which should be at 10 people. And that's in New York City, in New York.
Nikki?
Mm-hmm.
Hudson. Done.
Would this be, what was that show or whatever, County Law?
It's County Law. We're sitting in Hudson.
It's a new version of it, County Law, and you go on out and you just enforce everything. Who is it?
It's Hudson. And everybody's like, quick, go out the back.
How did he find out? Who told on us? It's County Law.
I'd watch that show.
The Riot, not everyone's fan.
I wonder whose idea this was.
RadioU.
I'll just tell you, as a third-party observer, somebody at a distance just watching, I'm so proud of little Nikki and who she's growing up to be.
Little Nikki. That's
because little Nikki has gone from, I don't drink coffee,
I don't drink coffee a lot, like not every day. But if someone makes it, like Chris just finished making a pot of coffee, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll take some. I enjoy it if we have the creamer available.
Nikki, you've transitioned into somebody who straight up drinks coffee. Yeah. You don't know it yet? Like, you haven't accepted your identity yet as a coffee drinker?
I guess because it's not every day. I don't feel like I do enjoy it, but I feel like it's only when the situation is right. Like, everything's lined up for it to happen, but I definitely enjoy it more than I used to.
Okay, now taking all that into consideration, Nikki, you are drinking coffee and you're starting to have the experiences of a coffee drinker.
Oh,
and
that was a mess.
Tell them what happened. Tell them what happened.
I only had a certain amount of time. Anchor and Braille are beautiful.
Right there, we know all about it.
Anchor and Braille are beautiful songs, but they're very short and they're not long enough. So I went to our break room and I was like, oh, hey, Chris did make some coffee. So I got that and I got creamer and I got it all ready to go. But because of the short song and it was time for us to talk again, I had to rush back, but I filled it up too high. So don't come in to the building yet because I have to go out and clean up all the coffee I just spilled the entire way walking, all over my shoes, my pants, my hands. I'm sticky. It's just everything's really bad right now. And I'll go out and clean it in a moment, but don't look at it yet. So if anybody's here, don't look at it.
That right there. I've experienced that many times. I don't always tell you, but man, I don't know how many times I've had coffee grounds all over the floor. And it's like, I got to run into the studio, and then when it's over, I got to sweep them up.
I know, you got to go back.
Whatever.
So I feel very bad. And I have seen it underneath the coffee pot. There's always coffee like on the floor. There's always some sort of coffee stain. And a few other places, but I definitely added to it. So I'll be fixing that right now. So if we can give me 3 minutes and 54 seconds right now, I'll go clean it up.
I'll allow it.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
I have an age-appropriate crush on that Brad Pitt.